Welcome to Teacher's Corner, the podcast where we talk about the heart, science, and practice of special education. I'm your host, Jamie Rivera, and today we're shining a light on a role that doesn't always make the headlines, but changes lives every single day. We're talking about special education teachers, not just as educators, but as transition leaders. When we hear transition, we might think of moving from one grade to the next or from school to adult life. But in special education, transition is so much more. It's navigating changes in support, in routine, in ability, and in opportunity. And at the center of it all is the teacher, guiding students, walking alongside families, and bringing teams together to make sure no one gets left behind. Today, we'll explore what this leadership looks like, why it matters, and how it shapes the future of learners with diverse needs. Joining me is Sir Marjon Roche, an elementary teacher in the United States of America. Welcome, Teacher Marjon.
Uh, Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk about this.
Yes, me too. I am very excited kasi pwede na natin i-compare yung sitwasyon dito sa Pinas at yung experience mo dyan sa US. So while you are sharing your experience, there maybe I can share mine too here in the Philippines. Let's start with the basic. For someone who hasn't worked in special education, what do you mean when you say a teacher is a transition leader? How is that different from just teaching lessons?
That's a very great question. So when people hear the word transition, they often think about moving from one grade level to another. But my experience at Harmony Science Academy Odessa, where I am teaching right now here in Texas, transition is much broader than that. It involves helping the students move from dependence to independence, from uncertainty to confidence, and from simply learning content to becoming lifelong learners. So, me myself, as a science teacher, I work with the students from diverse backgrounds and learning their needs, including students receiving special education services as well. So, being a transition leader means helping them navigate academic, social, and emotional changes while preparing them for the future success. It also means like working closely with families, special education teachers, interventionists, counselors, and administrators to ensure that every child receives the support needed to thrive. I often tell my students that my goal is not only to teach science, but also to teach them how to think critically, solve problems, communicate effectively, and believe in themselves. So those are the skills that help them succeed uh, after they leave my classroom.
So it's really about seeing the whole journey, not just the time they're in your classroom. Well, based on my experience sa private school, imagine your school namin has a very small number of students. There are parents who really want us to put up high school and college for the sake of their child with special needs. Paano nga naman yung mga anak nila after elementary? But you know what? Kahit gusto namin maglagay ng higher level, there are some challenges talaga na mahirap ma-address like having SPED teachers or even regular teachers na willing mag-handle ng mga students with special needs. Madalas salary ang una nilang tinitingnan sa school, which is di rin natin sila masisisi. Tama?
Yes, exactly. And one thing also I have learned at Harmony is that transition planning starts much earlier than many people realize. So even though at the elementary level, we are already helping the students to build the skills they need when they are preparing for middle school and as well as high school, college, careers, and independent living. So through programs such as like College Readiness and Leadership Program, and we call it here as CRLP, the science fair, the various STEM activities, We intentionally expose the students to opportunities that help them discover these strengths and interests. So every lesson, every leadership opportunity, and every positive relationship contributes to a student's future success.
So let's break this down. What are the most important ways special education teachers lead through transitions?
Based on my experience, there are four ways teacher serves as transition leaders. First, for academic preparation. So here at Harmony, we use the data-driven instruction, targeted interventions, and continuous progress monitoring to help students overcome learning gaps and achieve academic growth. We're constantly preparing the students for the next level of learning. The second is like building the confidence and self-determination. So many students, especially those with disabilities, need support in believing in their abilities. So through classroom discussions, collaborative projects, and leadership opportunities, we help students develop confidence and also learn to advocate for themselves. So the third one is like this is also important partnering with families. So families are essential partners in the transition process. So what I did is I regularly communicate with parents and about the students' progress, their strengths and challenges, and because successful transition, I believe that because successful transitions happen when schools and families work together. And the fourth one is like providing the meaningful experience beyond the classrooms. So as a science teacher myself, a CRLP coach also, I have seen how extracurricular opportunities help my students develop their leadership, their communication, research, and problem solving skills. So these experiences prepare students not only academic success, but also their life beyond school.
That last point is so powerful. Being a leader here isn't just about paperwork or plans. Hindi rin title lang ang pagiging SPED specialist. It's about being a source of strength. Strength for those children and for their families. So dapat talaga tayong mga teachers are emotionally stable when we accept this calling. I believe calling talaga ito eh. And not just passion. Ang pagtuturo sa mga batang may special needs. We are called to serve these children.
Yes, absolutely. So in my experience, trust is the foundation for every successful transition. Families need to know that we genuinely care about their children, and students need to know that we believe in their potential. So when trust is established, students become more willing to take the risks. So they will try the new things and overcome the challenges. So families become more engaged and confident also in the educational process. So that is when meaningful growth happens.
Let's go back with the challenges. Leading through transitions must have its challenges. What are some of the biggest hurdles you and your colleagues face?
There are certainly challenges. We cannot deny the fact that we always like encounter that kind of situation. Students come with different learning needs and backgrounds, and as well as experiences. So some needs academic support, others need social emotional support, and some families also need additional guidance navigating educational services. However, the rewards are incredible. So one of the most fulfilling aspects of my work is seeing the students' growth in confidence and achievement. I have seen students exceed their academic growth goals, successfully present the research project at science fair competitions, and also some of my students develop their leadership skills through CRLP activities. So as a teachers, we may not see the final outcome of our efforts immediately, but every positive experience we create, it helps shape a student's future. So knowing that we played a role in that journey makes all the challenges worthwhile.
Sounds like we're not just teaching a student, we're empowering a whole family and community.
That's exactly right. So, transition leadership is not only about helping the students, it's also about empowering families and strengthening communities. So, when we help the students become confident, independent, and successful, we create a ripple effect and extends beyond the classroom. So, we help the families feel hopeful, encourage community participation, and also promote a more inclusive society where every individual is valued and given opportunities to succeed.
For teachers listening who want to grow as transition leaders or families who want to know what to look for, what advice would you give?
Um, for to teachers, I would say build a strong relationship with your students and their families. Focus on the whole child, not just only academic performance. Use the student strengths as a foundation for the growth. Provide opportunities to develop leadership, collaboration, and self advocacy. Never underestimate the impact of encouragement and high expectations. I think I can say to the families, to stay actively involved in your child's education. You also need to communicate openly with teachers, celebrate progress no matter how small, encourage independence and self confidence. And to everyone listening, remember that transition is not a single event, it is a continuous journey. So, as educators ourselves, our role is to guide, support, and empower the student so they can reach their fullest potentials and become successful members of society.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much, Sir Marjon, for sharing your experience and your heart with us today. It's clear that being a special education teacher is about so much more than what happens inside four walls. You are leaders, guides, and builders of future.
Thank you also for highlighting this work. It means the world to us and the families we serve.
To our listeners, if you know a special education teacher, take a moment today to say thank you because they aren't just teaching lessons, they leading the way through every transition, every challenge, and every step toward a brighter tomorrow. This has been Teacher's Corner. I am Teacher Jamie. Join us next time as we continue exploring stories, ideas, and voices from the world of inclusive education. Goodbye, everyone.